Donna Charpentier with Hammond Residential, and I'm here today with John O'Hara of Fairway Independent Mortgage. We are here once again at Urban Exchange in South Boston, a high-end furniture, consignment, and home decor boutique. Thanks for joining me today, John.
Thanks for having me again.
No problem. So we're going to continue our conversation about financing and lending. And certainly with everything that's happened with the housing crisis, the process for applying for a mortgage has become much more complicated.
Yes.
So what can people expect when they apply for a mortgage?
If you're a first-time home buyer, you're not going to notice the difference. Just be prepared with documentation. Pay stubs, W-2s for your last couple of years, bank statements, all pages. Be prepared with documentation. Be prepared to answer a lot of questions. The process is much more cumbersome. In the past, we may have been able to get a mortgage with 1 month bank statement and 1 pay stub. Today, it's very different. It's looking at a much broader, longer-term view of someone's financial picture. Multiple months of bank statements, multiple pay stubs, and multiple years of W-2s and tax returns.
Okay. What are some of the common roadblocks that might prevent someone from obtaining a mortgage?
One of the most common is just the unexpected. It's important that as you begin the process that you get in touch with the lender and you start the process of a pre-approval so that we can look at everything. So that we can look at your credit to make sure that there's no issues there. Or if there are issues, how long is it going to take to fix it and what steps can we go in to get it fixed so that you will be prepared to buy. Also, we can look at all your documentation in advance. We can look at your pay stubs, we can look at get your W-2s in line, and then most importantly, we can look at your bank statements so that we can look and make sure, okay, this is how much you need for a down payment, this is what you need for closing costs, and are there any large deposits or something that we need to explain. And then the other roadblock, particularly if you're buying within Boston, is condos. Just making sure when you're buying a condo that it's going to meet the guidelines of what's required for financing these days. And so before making an offer and after your pre-approval, you want to get in touch with your lender and say, okay, here's the situation with the condo association. Will this work for the financing in the program that I'm looking at?
And some of the guidelines that you're talking about are perhaps owner occupancy
Correct.
of the building?
Correct. Owner occupancy, is there one person that owns more than, 1 unit? Is the budget in place? Those kinds of things, which someone wouldn't normally think about,
Right.
but you really have to think about in this lending environment.
So aside from that sort of forward thinking and preparation, is there anything else that anyone can do to strengthen their position to make sure they get that mortgage?
Be prepared. That's the biggest thing. And know going into the process where you stand. You want to get pre-approved because you don't want to be out looking at a property that's in a price range that isn't going to work for you. Because if you do that and you go to make an offer, you're going to be disappointed when you find that you're not going to qualify for that. So that's one thing. Make sure your credit's where it needs to be. That's a big piece today. And making sure that your down payment and that you're positioned correctly. Because if you're better off knowing now, because then you can look at where your situation is, and then based on the programs that are available, where you need to go to and how you need to get there in order to